Project I'm going to do today is forge a set of tongs that are good for one thing and one thing only, and that's holding the head of a railroad spike. Just like that. So stick with me. I'll forge them out. I'm going to weld these reins on. Actually, I have welded these reins on. I will add the welding of the reins on to the end of the video. So if you want to see that done, you can just hang on. But I'll put the forging of the bits on at the front. Now for sure you can draw these reins out. I think it's about 7 inches of this material. I'm starting out with, as I'm going to say here in a second, 3/8 by 1 inch. I'm going to make a mark at 3 inches for this set down right here. And I think if you add about 7 inches, let's see, 7, no, that would give you way too much, but if you draw them out, you're going to need about 6 more inches after the 3, so 9 inches for each, a 9-inch long piece for each half of the tongs will be sufficient. But I'm going to weld them on. You're more than welcome to draw them out if you want, but I'm an old man. So, let's get after it. So, for some oddball reason, I only thought that I was recording everything yesterday, but I was wrong. So, I'm going to do some over. Part of which is laying out one of these bits. So I've got a piece of 3/8 by 1 inch stock, and I have marked 3 inches down from the end where, using a fairly sharp corner on my anvil, I'm going to set that right there and give it a good wallop so that I know exactly where I want to start this at. Okay, putting that mark that I made previously on a fairly round section of the edge, half on, half off blows. We're going to set that down about 2/3 of the thickness, or about 1/3 of the thickness, excuse me. Take another heat and then we'll cut that off. So we'll set that right on there at the back of that angle and cut it off. Going almost all the way through. So our parent stock is back to its original shape. Ready for the next one. Now we'll flatten that out a little bit, put it right back in the fire, and here's the piece that we just cut off. Now we'll prepare the scarf for welding. While I'm at it, I have a piece of 3/8 rod here that we'll be using for reins that I believe is 26 inches long, because the pieces I had, yeah, it's about 26 inches. When I cut them in half, that's how long they were. So that is both reins. Just left it on the solid rod, on one piece of rod, so I have plenty to hold on to while I'm welding, so that it won't get hot. And we'll take that down just a little bit. And put our scarf on there, ready for weld. Now I want to make sure that when this thing's laying on the anvil, can you see that? No, you can't. When it's laying on the anvil, that when there's pressure applied out here on this end, it doesn't walk all over the place, and it's not. Reason being, I'll shift this around here. When we prepare the rein to weld on there and lay it on there, if that's bowed up, this will just rock around in all different directions, but it's sitting on there nice and solid. It's not swiveling around like this. Step number one is to round this off. Hitting those corners just like you're going from square to octagon. Now, up about 1.25 inches from that set down, I'm going to put a mark. Same thing as before, except on the opposite side. I'll set that on that sharp corner. And give myself a mark. Mark off the other end of the boss. Now we'll put that mark on this fuller and take it down just about to 3/8 square, not quite. Keep it flat. That's probably enough right there. Now working at the near side of the anvil, half on blows, we're going to take that down to an angle. Once again, keep it flat. Just like that. This slot punch measures about 11/16 of an inch. Might be a little bit wide, but it works. You can do this with a hole punch and a chisel, but you end up with rag in the middle. This slot punch works out very well. Now, I'm going to come over here to where I'm coming up to about the middle with that end of the punch, and back here to where I've got about an even amount all the way around this back end. Start my hole. Now I'm going to come up from that one to where I've got just about the same amount around the front. Don't forget to cool your tool. Oops. Slipped out there. And there we have our slot cut. Now that's a fairly clean slot in there. There's not a lot of rag on it. Like I said, if you can do that, punch a hole at each end and connect the dots with a chisel, but you end up with a lot of rag that you got to file out. First, I'll open that up a little bit using that same slot punch. Like I said, we pretty much just work that like a bottle opener. Getting it even all the way around. When we're done, we should have about a 1 1/8 inch hole, and I'm real close to it right there. It's a little bit thick right here, but I'm not going to worry about that because after we get this twist in this will be a lot more accessible, and we can work that spot of that ring out. So I'll just dress that up a little bit, and we'll call it good. Right here is why I put that angle. After I did this set down, I put that angle in there. This is starting to close up here on this. The very first pair of these I did not do that angled set down, and that closed up so much that I had a cold shut right there. And that's why I did that. Yeah, I went in ahead and put the twist in that to show you I'm gaining access to that spot there that was just a little bit bigger. Now there's plenty of room to get in there and work on that. Now we'll just lightly work out some of those twist marks. So we'll just hang that all over the edge. Take her down. Now it's down that way a little bit far, but I can correct that. And this is where I wish the beck on my anvil was a little bit sharper. So there's that half. Other than the hole, I'll punch a hole real quick, just so we can do that too. But you know, I probably ought to round off those corners a little bit, just to dress that up. I'll do that before you do the hole, if you're going to do it. Now, get her somewhere close to the center. Give her a little tap. Make sure you're right. I want to bring that one back this way just a little bit. That looks pretty good right there. And we've got a hole. And like I say, I'll drip that out to 3/8 or 3/8 rivet. And I got that one hot. Well, those match up pretty good. They'll need a little bit of tweaking after we get them together, but I think it's good enough now to go ahead and rivet them. Now we need 1.5 times 3/8 for that rivet head. 3/8, 3/16, 9/16. Now, I like to set that rivet down just a little bit, then get it hot, then peen it over a little bit, and then hit it with that rivet tool. Now we'll work that joint just a little bit. Line those up some. And we'll see how they fit here. Now, just because of the way of the head angling a little bit, that's going to set in there straight one way, but not the other. But I think that's going to work out quite well right there. Might close them up just a little bit on the outer ends. And of course, I can't forget to put the BC on there. That's going to be upside down. No, it ain't either. There we go. Got the 2022 BC. One set of railroad spike tongs. Ready to go. Now all I got to do is not give them away like I've been doing. Then I'll have a set. Now we'll prepare the reins by upsetting. We need a good amount of material upset in there for this forge weld. Now, almost always you'll end up with the start of your scarf when you're doing this upsetting. You can just see that one direction it looks better for the scarf, and that direction's right there. It just automatically shaped itself. Now that end is upset good enough. I'm going to cool that. And now is the time to upset the other end. The reason I say now is the time to upset the other end is because it's the easiest time to do it. And that's probably more than enough right there. So we'll go ahead, and I like the way that looks right there for my scarf. We'll test those. That looks pretty good. See what we can do here. We have a tack. Until you are done forge welding a joint, there is no reason to have it at any other temperature other than forge welding temperature. And I'll stay with that light hammer just so I can get more forge welding blows in on it. I'm going to forge on the top and bottom of the weld first. And then I'll get the sides. Reason being, that'll help blend in those seams on the sides. I've got plenty of forging now I can do on the sides. To get all that blended in together. Now one more forge welding heat and we'll be done. So I just will go back to my forging hammer. Take down those corners a little bit. Take it down to 3/8 thickness. And there we have it. The forge welded rein. Focus. So now we'll get ready to do that bit.